The next stitch that we're going to do is the blind hem stitch. The setup for this stitch is found on page 26 of your manual. There are two blind hem stitches on the machine. There's this one that has a little straight stitch between the large peaks, and this one that has a little zigzag stitch between the large peaks. The setup is exactly the same for both of those stitches. Stitch length is going to be between 1 and 2. Stitch width is 5. The tension is between 3 and 5. And the foot that we're going to use once again is this number 3 foot. For the blind hem, though, we have to move this red guide that's on the foot. And we're going to turn the screw so that the red guide moves all the way to the left, almost out to the end of the screw. I'm going to put it pretty close to the end of the screw, so you can see there where it is. So the setup for the blind hem is to set it here in the stitch selection guide, and those two stitches are all the way around here. Here's the one for the straight, that has the straight stitch between the peaks, and the one that has the little zigzag stitch between the peaks. We're going to use this one that has the straight stitch. This one is used for woven fabrics, and the one that has the little zigzag is used for stretch fabrics. We're going to set the stitch length between 1 and 2, it said, so I'm going to set it about 1.5. And the stitch width it said to set on 5, so we have it on 5. And the tension it said, I think, between 3 and 4. Actually between 3 and 5, so I'm just going to leave it set on 4. To prepare our fabric for sewing the blind hem, we're going to turn the edge of the fabric down about 3/8 of an inch and press it, and then turn it up to whatever depth you want your hem to be. And of course you would use a ruler and measure to make sure everything is even and straight. But now you've got it folded for the hem, and you want to put pins in it. You're going to put the pins in about 1/4 of an inch down from this edge here. So I'm going to put the pin in, and I want the point of the pin pointing toward the bottom of the hem, like this. And you can use as many pins as you think are necessary for it. So it's all pinned in place. And now we're going to turn the bottom of the hem toward the right side of the project. So if this is the hem of a skirt, for example, we're going to turn the bottom of the hem toward the right side of the skirt. So this is the wrong side of the fabric, or the inside. Let's say inside. So the hem is turned toward the inside, and now we're going to fold it toward the outside of the project. And I'm going to fold it right along the point where I put those pins in and crease it. So now I'm ready to go put it on the sewing machine. So I'm going to bring it over to the sewing machine, and this crease that I've made here, where it's folded back where the pins are, I'm going to put that fold right up against this red guide. I hope you can see that. The fold goes right up against the red guide. Okay, now I'm going to look back here where the needle is. I want to take pins out as I come to them, by the way. I'm going to look back here where the needle is, and I'm going to hand turn the needle down. And when it comes up and it's going to step over to take that big peak, to the left. See it going over there? I want it to just catch the very, very edge of my fold. And I don't know that you can see it here, but it's really stepping where the needle is right now. It's stepping about this far. It's stepping about 1/8 of an inch into the fold, which is further than I want it to go. I want it to go just in the very, very edge here. So I am going to change my stitch width to something a little bit narrower. I'm going to take it down to about 4.5 maybe, or even 4. And then I'm going to make sure that when it steps back over to the right, it is still going over the wire, and it seems to be doing that. So now I'm happy with sewing it. And I want to keep the fold right up against the guide so that when the needle steps over there, it's grabbing just a few stitches into that fold. And you do need to take the pins out as you come to them. And when you're finished, you're going to stop with the needle in the high position, cut the thread, and then we're going to turn this back. You can see what it looks like here on the wrong side where we've sewn it. And turn it back, and you've got little pinpoints of thread on the right side. So if the thread color was the same as the fabric, those would not be so noticeable. And I will tell you honestly that those are just a little bit longer than I would like them to be. So if I were, and I always do a sample to make sure of that, of how long they're going to be, that I'm happy with the result. But the other thing you can do is, if it's still stepping too far over, you can move this dial, you can move the guide a little bit more to the left so that it takes even less of a bite into the fabric. So let me just set up another one and do it. So now I've moved the guide over a little bit to the left. And now my little stitches are a little smaller than they were on the original one. Just have to keep playing with it a little bit until you're happy with the length of those stitches. But that's all there is to doing a blind hem.